I teach kids on the spectrum,
Okay.
autism spectrum disorder, second and third grade. I've also
Mhm.
taught first grade as well.
This is quick. This is
Yeah.
random. How do you feel about the R word?
The R word. What's
Yeah.
the R word? Oh, yeah. It's not a favorite uh, at all.
Welcome to the Going Mach 5 podcast. I'm your host, Rashad Kenneth Thompson. Thank you so much for joining me today. If we met before, welcome back. And if we have not met, welcome. Today, I am in the $15 million studio. And that's not funny. And sitting across from me is a photographer,
Yes.
a creative, a globetrotter,
Yes.
and a teacher. Subsequently, she is also the second most beautiful person I've ever met.
Oh, man. I appreciate that.
Raven Beard.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm
Doing
great.
okay?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we're going to start very quickly. What's it like being a teacher and also subsequently being very, very poor?
Oh, I tell you, the income is shit.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it really is. What brings me most joy, honestly. So a little background on me. I teach kids on the spectrum,
Okay.
autism spectrum disorder, second and third grade. I've also taught first grade as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the best thing about it is, of course, it's not the money. I feel like every teacher says that.
Of course.
It's not the money because it really
It can't
isn't.
be.
Yeah, nobody can survive.
Sure.
Seriously. But my students, they come with a bunch of different challenges, whether it's academic or whether it's social. Seeing them grow in those areas, that's what keeps me going. I used to, before I started teaching, I was an RBT, registered behavior therapist. So still working with children with all type of disabilities and exceptionalities and things like that. So I was working with a kid one-on-one, or I go to a center. Then COVID hit, and so I started going to their house. But that was cool. Teaching them different type of skills. So I took that. I have a bachelor's in psychology. So yes, oddly enough, teaching was not my first thing. I wanted to do
You are
something.
so talented.
I appreciate it.
You have so many qualifications. You have so many things you could be doing with your time, but instead you meandered on over here.
Listen,
and you're doing this stupid ass podcast.
No, you reached out, and I was like, sure. I've never been on a podcast before, so
That's very kind of you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, this is quick. This is random. How do you feel about the R word?
The R word. What's the R word?
Retarded.
Oh, yeah. It's not a favorite at all. It's kind of offensive. But I think it all stems back from, earlier, so my mom was born in 1950. So that was a thing. That was a word.
It was an actual scientific term.
It was a scientific term that was used to describe, those with, we say exceptionalities now.
Sure.
With disabilities or mental disabled.
Sure.
So we don't say it now.
Of course. And I know why.
Yeah.
Because when you retard the process, you slow the process.
It down, yeah.
So like I had this conversation with an old customer of mine, and let's just say you knew who he voted for based on a sign in his front yard.
Okay.
And you knew who he voted for based on another sign in his front yard saying, this person is not my president. So you can fill in a blank there. But one time I had a conversation with him and his wife, and they were openly talking about why they don't understand why they can't say that word anymore. And I said, well, no, you can say anything you want.
Yeah.
It's not about you can't say it. I said, well, the main reason is because it's used as a derogatory term now.
Correct.
That's why we can't. If people didn't use it as a derogatory term,
I don't think they're
like,
yeah, it would just be another word.
Right.
Right.
But I asked because you said you taught, those types of kids. And I was curious because my sister also used to teach special needs, if you will. So because I've said that word around her and I didn't for most of my life. And then I got to be like in my early to mid 30s and I just said it around her and she was like, hey, we don't say that word.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I do. But then there's also this idea of being mindful of the people that you're around.
Yeah.
And also, if someone tells me, "Hey, don't say that," it's not like it's so ingrained in the lexicon of my
Right.
everyday verbiage that it's
Right.
just like, "No, I have
I
to
have to
say it."
say
Like,
it.
what are you
Right.
talking
Right.
about? I don't care. Like, it's not. I was just curious about your opinion on it because you know,
Yeah.
you might have a different perspective based on the fact that you teach children with those exceptionalities.
Yeah.
Do you have a budget for your classroom? Excuse me, let me rephrase because you obviously don't. Do you have a set budget that you set for yourself for your classroom every year?
No, I
So it's
don't.
kind of like just figure it out as you go.
Yeah. For the most part, I will say this. Um, my school is not a Title One school, so uh, the supplies and stuff that we need, we have a lot of things.
Explain to me Title One.
So Title One are typically schools that are in lower socioeconomic areas,
Sure.
and so they receive a lot of funding from the state. Versus like my school, we kind of don't. Um, but in typical, a lot of those schools are have a lot more black and brown
Surprise,
kids.
surprise.
Surprise, surprise.
Sure.
Exactly.
Okay.
And where I work, it's not as diverse.
Mm-hmm.
So so I say all that to say this: when it comes to things that I need in my classroom, I pretty much have stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just a little, every yearly we have things like they have rundown like erasers and stuff like that. So I don't really have a budget. I try to just take care of our supplies as much as possible.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
It's so arduous. We were talking before I started
Yeah.
recording about my mother also is a teacher.
Yeah.
So is my sister. To even go even deeper into it, my brother-in-law is a professor.
Okay.
So like it's kind of this space where I'm surrounded by educators.
Yeah.
And I like to consider myself an educator in the loosest of terms because I'm not certified. I even tell you, don't listen to me. I don't know the hell I'm talking about. But it's very weird to see people who, in my opinion, are of some of the most, who should be some of the most revered people in terms of, your occupation,
Yeah.
not getting the tools that you need to shape the youth,
Right.
as they say.
Right.
Has there ever been a point in your teaching career that you were like, am I cut out for this?
Yes.
Has it happened a lot?
Every year.
Well, okay. So what is it? Is it a different thing every year that
Yeah,
makes
it's
you
definitely a different thing every year. The first year, so I started off as a parapro, and a
okay?
parapro is the assistant in the classroom that helps
Hmm.
out the main teacher and does like small group work
Sure.
with the students. So I did that for about 2.5 years, and then
Hmm.
I graduated and got my master's. In,
Keep going.
um,
I'm just sitting across from somebody who's just superior to me in every single way, and I just feel smaller and smaller.
No. Yeah, I got my master's, and so I took the GACE, which is a test
Hmm.
to get certified to teach. Passed that, so I started teaching. So 2019, 2020, when the pandemic and all of that hit, I passed, and so the next year was my first year, 2020.
Hmm. Hmm.
That year was a lot because we were teaching um virtually. So that was just like, so on top of it being my first year teaching, now I have to teach virtually. We got to get used to Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those days.
That was a time.
Yeah.
I say it like I have a corporate job that I was on Zoom all the time. I think I've been on one or two Zooms.
Oh man, those Zoom sessions were wild, to say the least. But after that, I get it. I guess I kind of get into the imposter syndrome. Like I look around and I see these veteran teachers around me, and I'm like, am I really cut out for this?
Hmm.
Am I reaching students? Am I reaching families? Like, is this what I'm really supposed to be doing?
Hmm.
But then it goes back to what I was talking about earlier, seeing the progress of my students. And, when you talk to the families and they're just like, thank you so much. Like, we wouldn't be here. Last year it was hard. My kid is really growing in communication and they're coming out their shell. And,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? It's just like, okay, maybe I'm doing something right here. You know what I mean?
Do you find more joy in teaching or getting a really good shot in photography?
That's hard.
I'm going to tell you, there's a good PC answer to give right here. And then
Teaching.
then there's your heart. Right. There's your heart.
Right. So the thing about me and photography, it's not even a love-hate relationship. It's a love-love. But I think my priorities, and I hate to kind of like put it like that because
Sure.
I do have priorities with photography. But if I'm completely honest, what pays the bills right now is teaching. You know
Sure.
what I'm saying? So that kind of takes precedent. So I will put that kind of over photography. But I have so many like ideas and things I want to do. Do I see myself teaching for 30 years and retiring? No. I can tell you that right now.
Well, no, you wouldn't have the money to retire.
that part.
Teaching is, let me tell you, there are a number of occupations in this country that I truly believe these people do not make enough. When you are a great teacher, you should, first of all, when you're a teacher, you should make more. But obviously, you want to reward the great teachers. You want them to make more. I even believe that to be the case for a lot of police officers. If you are a fair, just, by the book police officer, and you put your life on the line for the goodness of your community, you should make more, because they don't make nearly as much as they should.
They don't.
Now, if you're a poor teacher that's out here, and I don't mean poor in a funny way. I mean, because all of you are poor, but I mean like poor as in you're a bad teacher, and you're out here abusing students, and you're doing sideways stuff. That has no place in education. And you should be weeded out just like a bad police officer. I don't want a bad teacher. I don't want a bad cop. I don't want a bad pilot. These are the things that I don't want you to be a poor version of. But you say that photography is not the thing that pays the bills right now.
Correct. Not right now.
But in a perfect world,
yes,
would you leave teaching to be a photographer full time?
Yeah, I would.
Even if you have the chance to spark the brain that will bring in world peace. Really, Raven?
Yeah, I would.
You're so selfish.
I am.
You're a selfish piece of... I'm not even going to do that. No, I get it. And I think it's all about fulfillment. And where you find the fulfillment. I would love the idea of reaching out to a young person and getting them to truly understand like really good advice. Because sometimes you're so young, and I'm sure you've been there. I know I've been there, where someone who was older gave me the best advice in the world, but I was too
young.
It's not going to click in my head. Sometimes you have that moment where it does, like, oh man, I never thought about it that way. But then you give me the best advice in the world. I'm a kid. Like, that means nothing to me. How long have you been teaching?
For 7 years.
Do you have any students that you taught when they were young and now they're like, because 7 years, for a child is the difference between 11 and 18.
Yeah.
So like, have you run into any old students? I have,
and it was wild. It was wild to see. And like, you haven't seen them in a minute, because once they leave elementary, they go off to, middle school and then high school, and then you lose contact. But I was shopping in the grocery store. He happened to check me out. He was like, "Miss Beard?" And I was like, "Yes." He was like, "It's me." And I was like, "Oh shit." Like all the memories. Being in the classroom, it was so crazy to see how much he had grown up, and he was 18, and just to see like the effect that still had on him. And he was just like, "Yeah, can we take a picture? Like, how is so-and-so? How are my other teachers? How are my friends? Do you see them?" Like, he was, you know what I'm saying? I was just like, "Dang, that's crazy." And I've so I've had those moments.
Those core memories are very, very real.
Very, very real. Yeah.
And sometimes it'll be an interaction. It was like this with my parents. You could create a core memory and you don't realize that that's a core memory for your child. There's a number of things that my late father did that he probably was just being him, or it was just a regular moment. But for me, it was a core memory that I remember. Same with my mother. And not all the core memories are good either. Like sometimes they're not the best. What is your relationship like with your mother now?
We are on better terms.
Because I know for a while,
it wasn't.
That was not the case.
Not at all.
Now, just to be clear, your mother, I'm assuming, based on what little I do know, didn't necessarily agree with your lifestyle.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long did it take for her to come to terms with that?
I am about to turn 40 in September. Shout out to the Virgos.
Ugh,
Big
dis-
ones, not the little ones.
disgusting.
Ooh,
I'm
so
kidding.
much Virgo slander,
I'm
you know?
kidding. I love Virgos.
Um,
I love all zodiac signs. I'm a Cancer, so we
okay.
just cry all day.
um, like I said, I'll turn 40 in September. So it's taken about, I kind of came out, I want to say my high school year.
Mm-hmm.
So around 98, 99.
Senior year.
No, freshman.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were 14.
Yeah. Like I knew in middle school,
Mm-hmm.
like I had the hugest crush on my teacher.
Like, and it was legit.
Like it was legit. Like,
okay.
you know what I'm saying? But you kind of, well, for me, I was kind of at the stage where I knew
Mm-hmm.
like I like girls,
Mm-hmm.
but I never acted on it or, nothing like that.
Sure, sure.
I was just, normal kid, little tomboy, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But I knew it was something different.
Mm-hmm.
Then high school comes along. Then, I get like a girlfriend, and oddly enough, so my mom found out. It was Pride here in Atlanta, and
Oh shit.
and so some of my friends, like, we go out and they have like events, you know what I'm saying, and they'll start giving you different like memorabilia. So
Sure.
back in this time, they were giving out. I don't know why they were giving out white pages, but it was like a Pride, like the yellow pages and the white pages. Yeah. I don't know why they were giving that out. Anyway, they were, and so it had like Pride on the front and stuff like that. So I got that, and I got a whole bunch of like rainbow stuff, typical LGBT.
Sure.
So
the cliche, the stereotype.
Yeah, rainbow everything,
yeah.
Keychains, and
so
I was very like low key with mine. Like I would just hang like a little rainbow keychain on my book bag or whatever. So, but I had all this other paraphernalia, and I hid it underneath my bed. And so my mom was like cleaning up my room one day, and like she found all my stuff, and yeah, that's just kind of how that happened. And it was not, it wasn't good.
It's such an understatement. Now your mother's a very devout, religious woman.
Okay. She's not like a Bible thumper.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure. But so where did her intolerance stem from?
I think just a lot of it not knowing and not understanding.
Okay.
And then also, she's from South Carolina, Christian background, Southern state, just that whole mantra, that whole thing. So I think that's where a lot of it came from. I mean, because she's religious, don't get me wrong, but it's not like she has her holy oil and her holy water, and and it wasn't like that.
She's not an insane person.
Hey, teach his own. If those, you know what I mean? But
if look, as far as religion goes, if that's what you need to be a better person to your fellow man, go for it.
Go for it.
But in the example that you just gave, that is what you use to be judgmental of your fellow man. And that's what I can't get with.
Yeah, me either. Me either. Your religion is your religion.
Sure,
but
it's your business.
But yeah, she wasn't that type, but she also, she's old school, and she didn't understand that. And so it was very hard to navigate a child who's just very open,
Sure.
and not kind of hiding it. Because, in high school, all my friends knew. It was what it was.
Did they know because you told them?
Yes.
Okay.
They knew because I told them. Because I like girls.
Sure.
And
me too. I get it. I'm right there with you.
It sucks to hide yourself. And I'll admit I had a boyfriend.
How'd that work? Where did the attraction stem from?
You know what? I think I liked him. He was a good person.
Oh,
he was cute. But we had our own understandings of each other. I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to, tell somebody else's story.
Sure.
But we were cool, and we knew we understood each other. So
he was your beard.
What?
He was your beard.
What does that mean?
A beard is, let's say you have a Hollywood guy.
Okay.
And he's clearly gay.
Okay.
Like, and everyone knows he's
Okay.
gay.
Yes.
But he'll
Okay.
marry a woman,
Okay.
and the woman is his beard.
Yes.
As in,
Yes.
you put a beard on your face, make yourself look more manly.
Correct. Yes.
So he was your beard.
Yes. And I was his, I guess.
That's the reason why I didn't say that, because I didn't want to tell somebody else's story.
Yeah. Okay.
But
yes.
okay.
Yes.
Cool. Go ahead.
Yes,
I'm
he
sorry.
was. But you know, and that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that wasn't me.
That's not where you wanted to be.
No.
At all.
Not
How
at
long
all.
were you guys together?
Like middle school, so 7th, 8th grade.
Oh wow.
Yeah. 2 years. Actually, into high school too, because we went to prom together as well. So I knew him in middle school and then in high school. So and we went to the same church. I knew his mom. His mom knew my mom. So it was cool.
So did your mother know about that relationship?
Yeah. Yeah.
And she was very accepting of
100%.
So
like he could come over.
That's
and
so
like,
interesting.
He could. It's interesting because she didn't know.
This
about
like, allowing the boy to come over the girl's house is that's typically not
like we were hugged up on a couch. Like I was probably like a sophomore, junior. He would come over. We were like laid up on the couch, like chilling, like, you know what I'm saying? It would be late. It would be no problem. It'll be no problem. But when I had a female come over, oh, can I see you in the back room? Don't you think it's time for your little friend to go home?
This is after she knew.
Yeah, this is after she knew.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
now the timeline makes sense.
Yeah.
Now.
So there was parts of me, I guess you could say, not hiding, but still a piece of my mom.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So I would have him over, but he was cool. She knew him. Like she knew who he was and stuff like that. So it was okay. It was accepted.
I assume there was a point in your life where you stopped trying to appease your mother.
Absolutely.
When did that happen and what exactly happened?
Like around 18, 19 when I went off to college. So I went to Xavier University. Shout out Xavier.
That's in New Orleans, right?
It is.
Yeah, fuck the Saints. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So I went there and that's where I kind of just like let loose. You know what I'm saying? I really, really didn't care anymore. Like I was just like me, 100%. And she knew that. Like, you know what I'm saying? She didn't really, not first, it's a lot, but the school, I came back right before Katrina. School was just so expensive.
That's such a crazy time.
Like literally, I came home in May, and Katrina happened in August. Like
so
that
crazy.
timeline, yeah, it was crazy.
That displacement of people
was wild.
It was very wild.
Yeah,
like I knew a girl who went to state, but she only went to state because she was displaced by Katrina. I think she was going to Xavier. I think she was. Probably. And she got displaced, and she came back to Georgia. That's how we met.
Okay.
Like,
yep.
She was the daughter of my dad's coworker.
Okay.
And obviously, I'm the son of my father. So my dad played matchmaker, and it actually worked.
Okay.
But the problem was I had just gotten my heart broken, and I told her flat out, "Hey, I'm not looking for a relationship right now. Like I'm young. I was like 19.
Yeah.
You know, but she was cool with it.
Yeah.
Like she was cool with it. Like, hey, we could just hang out. Like it's cool. And yeah, Katrina, it was a crazy time.
It's a crazy
but
time.
Go ahead, please.
So I'm down there and I'm living life. You know what I'm saying? But I come home and that's where things kind of get turbulent with our relationship. Like I'm just living me, you know what I'm saying? And to be honest, when I'm 18, 19, I'm wild. I ain't really listening to my mama. You know what I'm saying? I'm being disrespectful.
What's your definition of wild?
Like just being out with friends, kind of being disrespectful to my mom. Trying to navigate who I am as a young adult. You know what I'm saying? In this free world, because at this time now I'm fully into women and girls, right? Dating, I got a girlfriend, all of the things, and I'm at home where I knew it wasn't accepted, but I didn't care.
Sure.
So I had my group of friends that she really didn't approve of. I would do things, have them over at the house when I knew I shouldn't. That stuff. So going through that was difficult. Got kicked out of the house a couple times. Um, had a car, she took it away because she didn't like who I was driving, who I had in it.
Sure, sure.
Things of that nature. So it was really, really rocky. And this went on from I came back in I want to say like 08, oh
Mm-hmm.
09. So a couple of years, and yeah, that's where kind of it really started.
Mm-hmm.
Up until I'll say it's 2024, maybe like 4 or 5 years, 6 years now. We've been trending upward
In
and
a good direction.
yeah, in a good direction.
What changed?
Um, I think we went through a lot of changes. And I got to a place where I no longer wanted to live my life for her. And I mean that by fixing my hair a certain way so that she'd like it, or wearing certain clothes so that she'd like it, or
Mm-hmm.
having my friend, a girl that I was interested in, um, her having her boyfriend. Yeah, so let me back up. So me and my friend, we were cool. Like I liked her, and she had a boyfriend,
Mm-hmm.
and we were all just fluid. He, you know what I'm saying, they were together, but
Sure.
not him and I. But I had him staged to be my friend, like a guy that I was interested in, just so I can like hang out with her. But he had to come over to the house, I had to meet my mom and all of that, doing all of these things for her
Sure.
and not for me. You know what I'm
Of
saying?
course.
And it really got to a point where I was tired of it. I didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't want to do that anymore. It didn't make me feel good. It was very draining.
And this wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago.
So you were already a grown woman.
Yeah. I mean, yes, in age, like of age, but I didn't have my own apartment and own car and things of that nature. If we want to define grown like
Sure.
that, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, no, that's fair because I don't consider myself a real adult. I'm not. I'm pushing 40. I'm not a real adult. Nobody. I say this, and people
yeah,
don't like it when I word it this way. People that I know don't like it when I word it this way. When I say, "Don't nobody love me," like there's nobody that's waiting at home for me. I don't have no kids. I don't. You know who waiting for me at home? John Madden. That's just waiting for me at home. Madden is waiting. I don't even play them like that. MLB The Show.
yeah,
Xbox is waiting for me at home.
right. That's your life.
That's it.
Okay.
Like it's not. You're much more of a real adult than I am. But
um,
so you were old enough.
yeah,
You just got to the point where you're like, okay, I'm tired of living for this woman.
yeah.
Did you pull her to the side and have a conversation?
We've had so many conversations. I even wrote letters. So, around 2007, um, through mutual friends, I met who is now my wife.
Mm-hmm.
I met her during Pride, Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the days. Everything happened for Pride, around Pride. Went to a club, met up. Then 2 years later, she contacted me and said, "Hey, I'm moving down to Atlanta." Um, so she comes down, we connect, and we start kicking it and dating and stuff. And it got to a point to where she was just like, "You don't have to do this. You don't have to." You know what I'm saying? It's not fair for you to constantly try to appease someone who isn't understanding of who you are.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And I didn't have that confidence. So having her come in and be like, this isn't cool. You don't have to. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, like me and my mom were going at it, butting heads back and forth, and she kicks me out. And she's just like, "Look, you got until December. Find you a place to live because you're not staying here." And so happenstance, where she was living with her cousin, she had to leave because somebody else was coming into the house. It wasn't bad or whatever for
Mm-hmm.
her situation. We ended up living together or whatever. So we started a relationship. But I think having her in my life at that time was what really kind of put the battery in my back and was like, "Yo, you have to speak up and stand up for yourself, even if it's your mom." Like
Mm-hmm.
that's so uncomfortable
Sure.
because I was always the one, like, I don't want to be disrespectful, and those words will be thrown at you to make you feel bad. Oh, you being disrespectful, blah blah blah. So that was constantly something that was in my mind
Mhm.
Like, okay, if I speak up and speak my truth and say how I feel, that's being disrespectful. Or let me not. So let me hold my tongue and let me not say anything. Let me just take it. But it got to a point where that was just too much, and
Sure.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to do that anymore. So I just started like speaking up and putting my mom to the side. Okay, hey, look, this is what it is. I'm so sorry you don't like it, but I'm me, and I'm not gonna change. Even though you praying for me too.
Oh, was she doing the pray the gay away thing?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
adorable and incredibly stupid.
Please, please, please.
That's incredibly dumb.
You know, but that's just, you know what I'm saying. And like I said, I
At
think
least she didn't send you to a pray the gay away camp.
God no.
Like,
Ooh.
oh God. You know, when I first saw that on television, I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is a parody. This doesn't really exist.
Yeah. No.
They really exist.
They do.
Like, hey, we're gonna pray the gay out of you.
Yeah.
I remember dating a woman who believed that being gay was like an evil spirit that you could be delivered from.
Yeah.
And she said it with such a straight face.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, yeah, I just believe that, that's an evil spirit and you can be delivered from that.
Yeah.
And I was like,
And that's how the church thinks.
I am not.
Not all. I won't say all.
No, it's not all. I am not knocking anyone for their beliefs, even though if they're incredibly, and we're not going to use the R word, incredibly dumb.
Yeah.
Okay. Rooted in absolutely nothing except some, bite your tongue, instead of some stuff that just isn't the most well thought out.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
For certain parts, not well thought out. But this idea, in fairness to her, when we lost touch with each other for a while, and then when we got back in touch with one another, she didn't believe that anymore. Okay. And then I started kind of looking at older situations I had with people. Now, we were younger, and we were all in our early 20s.
Yeah.
And when you're in your early 20s, your frontal lobe is not fully developed.
I say this.
People don't understand that.
It's not.
That's why even if you have like a professional athlete who is younger than 25, and now he has $100 million, he does something dumb. I'm like, yeah, he's a kid. Like, he's a child. Like, and just
like,
because,
seriously though, like,
just because he's in front of the camera, and just because he has the responsibility, you take a kid like LeBron, who was at 18 was tasked, save this franchise, and he did it. Yeah. Like, to have that much, heavy. To have that much pressure on you, you're the chosen one. Yeah. Like, and not even just LeBron, but anyone who, you might not be the chosen one to save a franchise that's your city, but it might be a case where, hey, we're drafting you number 1 overall. You need to be the guy because we want to win a championship. Right. You get a guy like Giannis. Yeah. Or, they didn't have those expectations for Steph, but hey, he brought it. Yeah. He brought the chips. Yeah. So I always found that a lot of people that I reconnect with after all these years, very rarely do you find people who got dumber. Mm-hmm. It does happen. Yeah. I know a girl who was so sweet and so wonderful, and when we were 2021 and we lost touch and we got connected again, she believed that the world was flat, and she believed that, I'm not going to go into all her beliefs, but she believed that the world was flat, like, with her heart, and she said it with her chest. And I said, just question. I have flown literally around the globe before, like, going in one direction. I'm watching the compass, like, on my phone. Like, I'm watching me go in one direction. Yeah. And I ended up in the same place. If the world was flat, how would that happen? Right. And she was like, well, I can't really explain that. And I was like, okay. Yeah. I don't really, I love conspiracy theories. I don't put credibility in them or credence. I don't give credence to them. Yeah. I like a good conspiracy theory because I think some of them are true. Absolutely. And some of them I think are just people wanting to believe what they want to believe, because I have learned that about people. It doesn't matter if it's politics, if it's religion, if it's anything. If people want to believe something, they will believe it. They will find anything. Wholeheartedly. It doesn't matter. Facts be damned. If
they believe it, they believe it.
Don't let facts get in the way of a good story. Like, that's what it is. And I don't knock them for it. Yeah. But yeah, thankfully she didn't send you to some pray the gay away.
Yes, thankfully.
Even though she was trying to pray the gay away.
Like, had my aunts talking to me and friends leaving messages on my phone.
What kind of message would you leave for a person? Like,
What are you doing? You shouldn't be doing this. And your mother is heartbroken. And why are you doing this to her?
your mother made it about her.
Yes.
Ego will do that.
Yes.
Ego will do, oh, this is about me.
Yes.
I don't like
I've
this. It's about me, not
Yeah.
my child.
Yeah. Or I've done something wrong. What did I do? That type of thing.
Usually accountability is good. In a space like that, it doesn't apply. It's just like when you have Dwayne Wade and his daughter, Zaya.
Yeah.
I remember talking to a guy who he was like, yeah, I couldn't, if my son, wanted to identify as a girl, I couldn't get with that. And I said, well, when you say you couldn't get with it, you saying you wouldn't support, that. He was like, nah, I just wouldn't be able to get with it. And I was like, I'm asking you what that means.
Yeah.
And
define that.
Right. And I think he didn't want to say I would abandon my child, but in essence, that's what he was saying. And I said, did your father love you unconditionally? And it was kind of like this hem-haw, well, I ain't really know my dad like that, and this, that, and the other. I said, okay. So I'm not a therapist, so I'm not going to give you my thought.
Yeah.
And he was like, nah, tell me your thought. And I said, usually it's people who never experience unconditional love that don't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
And when they see it, they can't recognize it. I've always said that Dwayne Wade is supporting his child like he's supposed to. Maybe he doesn't fully understand it.
Right.
The only thing you know about him is what he allows you to see.
Right.
The only thing you know about what he said is what he allows you to hear.
Right.
So this idea that, that I implicitly believe that a parent should support their child, even if you don't completely understand it.
Yeah.
Even if you don't get it. And when I say support, I'm talking about in their lifestyle and their upbringing. Now, if you find out your son likes kids or some crazy shit like that, that's obviously a different scenario because there are victims in this case.
Correct.
But if you, for whatever reason, feel this way, I've always felt like you should support your child no matter what.
And I think for me, growing up, that was the biggest thing that I want. You don't have to understand it, right? Because
it's not for you to understand.
It's not for you to understand.
Sure.
Just the support or the lack thereof is what was more damaging than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Being around family that didn't understand and not having my back type thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? For instance, like going to a baby shower with me and my wife, and my mom was just like, well, they gonna, if they hurt your feelings, and they just hurt your feelings. I'm just like, so you allow that? Like, you be okay with that? If they were going to say something out of pocket or treat us differently, you be okay with letting that go down? Like, stuff like that. That is what really like hurt the most. You know what I'm saying? It's just not having the support, and but I get it though, because she didn't understand it, and it was not something that she was proud of. I remember distinctly, I asked my mom when we were having a conversation. It was kind of heated, and I asked her right out. I said, "Are you embarrassed of me?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay."
This is how I know you're a Virgo and you're not a Cancer.
How?
I said this to my father when he was still alive.
Mm-hmm.
I said, Dad, you were always the quintessential father. I said, you supported me in every way, shape, and form. You didn't always understand, and you didn't support immediately when you didn't understand, but you would at least listen, especially the older I got. My father was a great man. My father was a great father. But I've told him, hey, if you weren't a great dad, I would never talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
I would shun you. I have no desire to be in contact with you, but that's your father. I don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how petty I am as a Cancer. There's no one on this planet. I don't have kids.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one on this planet that I have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
They don't exist.
Right.
At least at this moment right now, they don't exist. I have walked away from people that I've known forever. Mm-hmm. Before these cameras started rolling, I told you about a person that I am not associated with anymore. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to go into the details of that. Mm-hmm. But the short version is I learned in a few different small scenarios that we are not the same kind of person. Mm-hmm. And then this person did something very minute,
Mm-hmm.
but it was enough for me to say, oh, we don't need to be associated anymore.
Okay.
And I've known that person for a very long time, and it was very easy for me to say, okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's blood.
Yeah.
When my father passed in June of 2022, my uncle, his brother, passed 3 months later. I'm not going to have revisionist history about who he was or what he did while he was here on this earth. But let's just say there were some things he did after the passing of my father in those 3 months that made me say, oh, I'm about to cut you off too.
Yeah. Okay.
I had to remind a lot of people that I'm not a child anymore when my father passed.
Yeah.
Because they have this snapshot of who I am.
Yeah.
Oh, it's little Rashad.
Yeah.
Like he's, that's Ken's son, it's KT's son, little Rashad. And I had to really step in and when I was curating, the burial and the wake and,
right.
The actual funeral, and really shouldering it after losing my hero, you had a number of people who were trying to capitalize off of it, his brother included. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to have revisionist history about it. Yeah. I did not hurt when I found out he passed away. Yeah. Like I just didn't.
Yeah. That's fair.
And there were other people who, in essence, were trying to still talk to me like I was a child. Mm-hmm. My father was one way. I'm a lot more no nonsense than him. And I'm a lot less forgiving than him. Mm-hmm. I just am. Mm-hmm. I don't forget shit. I don't. Yeah. And you can slight me and I'll even like embrace you again. Yeah. I'll never forget that. Yeah. But I'll embrace you again. Like, okay, I can't put that past you now. Yeah. But anyway.
I think Virgos have similar traits. Well, speaking for me, myself.
Really?
Yeah.
You just, because it just, if I was gay and my father didn't accept that and would say things to me like, well, if you go there and you get your feelings hurt, you just get your feelings. I'd be like, that would hurt me. Yeah. And I'm sure it hurt. Yeah. So like the idea of you're my parent. Right. Regardless of you disagreeing on my lifestyle, you should still go to bat for me. Yeah. The idea of that not being the case would be like, oh, this is not a situation I need to be a part of anymore. Yeah.
That's kind of where it got to though. Mm-hmm. Like I was just like, you know what? I'm done.
Are you embarrassed by me? Yes.
Yes. And I mean, like not even stumbling or fumbling or it was just yes. Yes, I am. And I was like, okay. Well that makes sense. And okay, cool. So I'm gonna fall back. And that's kind of what it was, you know what I'm saying? Like it was hard. It was hard with her getting acquainted with my then girlfriend, my wife now. Mm-hmm. That was hard. Just all of it, you know what I'm saying? And I think it got to a point to where I stepped back. It was me. I had to make the move. I stepped back. I stopped like coming around. I didn't call as much.
You were still trying to cultivate a relationship with your mother.
I was.
Was she trying to do the same thing? If you had to put percentage on it, was it 80-20, 90-10?
Maybe 60-40.
So she was trying a little bit.
She was, but
what was she trying to do? Was she trying to? This is an analogy I always give. I don't know how much you watch football. Okay, so you know who the Cowboys are.
Yes.
You know who Jerry Jones is.
Yes.
Okay, Jerry Jones wants to win, but he wants to win his way.
Yes.
Did your mother want the relationship with you, but she wanted it her way?
Her way. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It always went back to
your sexuality.
It's my sexuality. Every time. Every time. No matter how many conversations we've had, I've written letters.
Was she trying to change you?
Yes.
This whole time?
Yes.
It was please like men and men only.
And men only. And please get married to one. Please. So 2014, me and my wife got married in Baltimore. Because it wasn't.
Why Baltimore?
Because it wasn't legal here in Georgia yet.
I was like, why would you? Yeah. Fucking. No shade to Baltimore, but it's not like a wedding destination.
Right.
Fuck, it's where they filmed The Wire. Why the fuck would you get filmed with Bodie on the corner out there?
Yeah.
Fuck out of here. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So that's where we went. Didn't tell her because for what? I already know how you felt. Mm-hmm. So I'm not gonna tell you. So yeah, we went off and got married together, and again, fearful of just the negativity I was gonna hear. At this point, I was just like, I don't care. I'm living my life, right?
Sure.
But still, there's a piece in the back of my head, like, "Ugh, I know my mama's, she ain't gonna be happy about this. Like, I'm still thinking about her and her feelings and
Ooh.
how, you know what I'm saying, how this affects her,
Can I tell you
right?
something? You're a
Yeah,
really great daughter. And it hurt you in this
yeah,
situation.
big
It
time,
hindered you in this situation.
big time.
Progress in this situation because you were so considerate of her,
Oh,
and she was not considerate
at
of you
all,
at all.
at all, like
How long
at
did it
all.
take for you to realize that though? Was it like around here?
Yeah, definitely within that span of me and my wife and being together for as long as we have been,
Mm-hmm.
it's taken that long. I think we were been together for like 15 years. 15 years, yeah.
Mm.
So within those 15 years, it's taken that long for me to like, okay, it's your life. You
So
don't have to.
you go to Baltimore.
Yes, we go to Baltimore.
You get married.
We get
You
married.
don't tell her.
Don't tell her.
Okay, what happens next?
Of course, we take pictures. We want to share them on social media. I think Instagram was kind of like new at the time, so
Sure.
I'm telling my wife like you can share it on your, just don't tag me yet.
Mm-hmm.
Don't, you know what I'm saying? I kind of need to get it in front of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we shared on the social media. My cousins, like they were following her because they knew her, whatever. They liked the photo.
Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. They liked the photo.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, till this day, I don't know why she did it. But she screenshots the photo, sends it to her mom. Her mom sends it to my mom. So that's how she found out we got married. So I forget how the conversation happens, but it happens. And she kind of like played like she was hurt about it. And I'm just like, but you don't agree with my lifestyle. So why would I feel the need to tell you?
This is a joyous day for me, and you're gonna do nothing but shit on it.
Yeah.
So why would I tell you?
Why would I tell you?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, that's how she found out. And like you were saying about not forgetting,
Mm-hmm.
I would never forget what my cousin did to me. She'll never own up to it. But deductive reasoning and, okay, well, this person follows that. Well, actually, they don't even follow them, so it can't be them. The other one that I told, they were all for it. Okay, I see
It's you.
somebody here
Mm-hmm.
who follows her, my wife. She's the only one that posted something. Who else could it be?
You know what happened to rats on the wire? Snitches get stitches, man.
So,
I know it's been a while. Do you want me to take care of that cousin for you?
I mean, we don't really talk anymore, so.
Blink twice for yes. I need the money.
So yeah, so that's that's how that thing goes down, and like from there, conversations have been had, letters again have been written,
You writing letters to her?
to my mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think I just sometimes get in a place where it's so emotional for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think talking face to face, I wouldn't have that ability to be and to clearly get out what I need to say. So writing a letter was better for me. Um, but there was never, I don't think there was ever any true understanding of what I felt and how I feel. So we going through it, married, me and my wife living out on our own. And like I said, I just kind of started to drift away.
Mm-hmm.
She was living in Decatur. We were up in Norcross.
What part of Decatur?
Ellenwood, River Road.
Ellenwood is such a different dimension to me.
Why?
The first time when they were developing it,
Mm-hmm.
like I remember I had to be 8th or 9th grade. This was when Blockbuster was still around. That's how long this was.
Mm-hmm.
I rented, and by I rented, my friend's father paid for it. We rented SoCom 3. for PlayStation 2.
Mm-hmm.
And we drove into Ellenwood, you know, on, I think that's Flat Shoals Parkway,
Yeah.
where the Kroger and the Publix, I don't
Yeah.
know if they're still there. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And you drive through there
Mm-hmm.
and you just drive. I don't know. I have a terrible sense of direction.
Mm-hmm.
You would think I'd have a great one, but it's awful sense of direction. It could be 1 mile or 10 miles. I wouldn't fucking know because I'm an idiot. And one of the many weaknesses I have. And I remember there was a part where like the trees started looking different.
Mm-hmm.
And if you kept driving, now it's just like a clearing.
Yeah.
And that was Ellenwood when they were developing
Yeah.
it. And I remember like I pulled in and I saw 2 white boys with afros playing hacky sack on the corner.
Whoa.
And I said, "Oh, I'm in a different dimension."
Yeah.
And we went to that Blockbuster, and that's where we rented the game.
Yeah.
And we drove back. And I remember telling my friend, "Hey, I'm gonna give you the $40 for this game." And he was like, "We haven't even played it yet." I was like, "I'm never going back there. So we're not gonna return this." I said, "I'm never going back there." I gave it to him too. Like, no, just Ellen was just a different beast. But you said, okay, so Decatur.
Yes. So, I just, I really just started to like fall back, as far as like dealing with my mom and, but of course, the whole time because I am who I am, I love her and it hurt the most, you know what I'm saying? But it was something that was necessary for me.
Sure.
Because like I said, I did everything. Going to buy clothes for me to wear. I'm thinking about, okay, how's my mom gonna like this? Me getting my hair done, okay, how's my mom gonna like this? Right?
You cut your locks.
I did cut them.
When did you cut them?
July 19th.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Big chop. I wanted to do something different. I had my locks from 28 to 39 now.
God, you're such a real adult. I never committed to anything that long.
I'm about to turn 40 as I stated, so I just wanted something new. New school year, new decade stepping into.
God, you're such a real person. God, when I watch you be creative and when I watch you work,
yeah,
there's, we talked about the idea of imposter syndrome and all that. And yeah, and I hear you. But like, you're really good at what you do.
I appreciate that.
In the interest of transparency, because we've talked mostly about you teaching and we touched on you being a photographer.
Yeah.
You're a really great photographer. You will not say that.
I won't.
I'm saying it for you.
And I appreciate that.
You exist in a space that I think is very rare, which is you're really good at something you're passionate about. Like to the point where I'll look at your art, and if you told me, "Oh yeah, I photograph, Beyonce," or I don't know, I'm picking like a high, I would totally believe it. There are certain people who have told me when I used to do music, there are certain people who's like, "Yeah, I make beats for Jay." And I'm like, "Oh, play me something." And then you hear it and he doesn't.
Right.
Like, that he doesn't.
Yeah.
So, and that's happened to me before. So it's very interesting when I see your work and I see how consistently good it is.
Yeah.
I'm talking, the hardest thing they say to do in sports is to hit a baseball. And you have hit after hit after hit.
I appreciate that.
No problem. And I know it's probably, if you're anything like me, it's probably very weird for you to get all these compliments right now. It probably feels very weird.
Yeah, it does.
It was weird for me for a very long time when I did music and even now doing this. But then I started living in, I don't lead with ego, but I love having my ego stroked. So when someone says, "Hey, like I heard this and it was really good," I'm just like, "Oh, tell me more." How great am I? Tell me more about how great I am. But okay, so you've been in photography for how long? How long has it really been something you took seriously?
I picked up a camera and I bought it like December, January 2017.
Really? So recently?
Yeah.
What was your first camera?
A T6.
Canon?
Yeah.
I've never used a Canon before. It's always been Samsung. Like these are Samsung.
Yeah.
Excuse me, these are Sony. Ooh, they are not Samsung. These are Sony. The hard drive is Samsung. Was it Nikon? I had a D3300.
Okay.
and then I gave that, I think, to my sister. I can't remember I gave that, but then I got a D3400,
Okay.
and I learned why those are beginner cameras,
Mm-hmm.
because you can't adjust ISO, you
Yeah.
can't adjust really anything.
Yeah.
Like, I get why it's a beginner camera.
Yeah.
Okay, so your first was a Canon T6,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
and when did you realize creatively, oh, I've maxed out my potential on this particular camera, or did you ever?
I didn't. To be honest, I have a 5D Mark III. Yeah, I think that's
So lit, so lit.
That was actually a gift.
Who bought that for you?
My friend Brittany, shout out to Brittany. She was given it. It was given to her, and she didn't need it, and so she was like, "Hey, right, we had worked on some stuff, and she was like, hey, I got something for you." I was like, "Okay, so cool." I meet up with her, right?
That's quite the something.
That's quite the something. So she gives me this camera, and like came with the camera bag, lens, the body, like the whole kit and caboodle, and I was just like what? Like, you giving this to me?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I thought for a second, and he was like, it was a gift. Like, who gave it to you? I thought you were going to say your mom. I'd have been like, holy shit, that's
Right?
a plot twist. So here, you could take pictures of you and your little girlfriend or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I would have loved that. That would have been a great little ending to that story.
Yeah.
Nice little bow. But okay, so you got a fucking camera of all cameras just gifted to you.
Yeah, just gifted to me. Yeah.
And then
So I don't use it for a minute because at that time, like I'm still learning the basics. Like, so I'm kind of like self-taught. Like I've never taken any classes or anything. YouTube, university.
Hey, ignorance is no longer an excuse.
Yeah.
Information is open
everywhere.
source. Yeah.
So I started like going on there and just kind of like figuring some stuff out and just like really just playing around and shooting. So if in the beginning I was shooting auto, so the camera just does everything.
Sure.
So I'm just shooting, and I started shooting my friends, and just shooting whenever, like going out and shooting whatever whenever, it didn't matter. I was really, before I started like shooting people in like portraits, I was shooting landscape. So I was just out in Cabbage Town,
nature.
Yeah, all the graffiti.
That's dope.
Yeah. What's our tunnel? Krog Street Tunnel. I was out there shooting everything. Trains, train tracks. It just really didn't matter. Icicles. I think we had big ice storm back then, like 2017, 2018.
I think we did, yeah.
Yeah. Shooting the icicles hanging off a sign. Like, you know what I'm saying? Anything that looked appealing to me and that I liked, I was shooting it. Just to kind of like get used to the camera and stuff. Because oddly enough, I had been shooting on my like phone for like a minute. It took me a while to be like, you know what, this is something that I kind of like. I want to do this, like,
for real.
Yeah, for real. I want to take this seriously. So it I am so bad when it comes to buying for myself. Now I'll buy for anybody else, right? Oh, you want? Yeah, I got you. Yeah, this is for you. It's a gift for you. For myself, it's so hard. My wife was just like, "What are you doing? Buy the camera." And so we were sitting in the bed.
Smart woman.
Yeah. That's why I keep her around.
Yeah.
We're sitting in the bed, and I buy it.
I love it. I love that feeling.
Yeah.
Of just, you know what, commit.
Yeah. Just go for it.
It seems like a very small thing to some, but the idea of investing in something that you love or something for yourself.
Yeah.
It's not always an easy thing.
Yeah.
I had to really work up to it. Now I'm just like, if I want it, I'm gonna buy it.
Yeah. I'm getting better at that.
Yeah. Like, and it's like for others, I'm very quick if I love you, or if I'm very big on the approach. I'm very big on, hey, talk to me.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm in a position of privilege, and I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
Like, if I do well at my job, and this economy is just terrible, but the economy hasn't really hit me because I do well at my job.
Right.
Maybe it has hit me, but I do well enough where it's not really
noticeable. Yeah.
But then you have people who, like, I went to Kroger today and I bought some fruit, and the already cut fruit, because Publix is just, what I said, Kroger?
Kroger.
I meant Publix. Yeah, I wouldn't buy fruit from Kroger. But
don't you feel like Publix has like the best produce?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay.
And I've never been to a Publix that wasn't clean.
Yes.
Like, they stay clean. I've been to some dirty ass Krogers, but I've never been to a dirty Publix.
Yeah, me either.
But the fresh cut fruit in Publix,
Mm-hmm.
I buy 2 of them and I go to check out, and one of them just doesn't even have the sticker on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even realize it because I just grabbed it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't care about the price. I wasn't looking at how much it was going to be.
Right.
I was like, all right, this is what I want. This one. Do you know how many people would have to look at that sticker and like be like, oh, this is $6.
Yeah.
I can't spend $6
Yeah,
on
maybe not today for that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's on some cut fruit on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Because I got paid on Friday and all my bills, and I did my grocery shopping on Saturday. Sunday is just like, all right, I don't have much left. I just got to make it through work or whatever.
Yeah.
And I understand my position of privilege. When I actually got to the front to check out, the girl who was checking me out was new. And the girl who was bagging had been there for a little while. So she was trying to scan it, and there was no, and the girl who was bagging was just like, okay, when you get one of these, you just type in the number. She's like, wait, it doesn't even have the barcode or any label. It's like, sir, do you remember how much these were? And I remember in my head being like, wow, no, you don't.
No, because I just grabbed it.
I just picked it up, and I was like, low key, I felt kind of like, not guilty, because I'm not going to apologize for being successful.
Mm-hmm.
I felt very fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
And in that space, I was able to recognize how fortunate I was.
Yeah.
Like, that was just a microcosm of
more
fortune. But okay. So Publix is the best. I think we've established that. If you have a few extra $1 million, you can go shop at Whole Foods.
Oh, yes.
Jesus. I remember one time I went to Whole Foods and said, I'm only going to spend $30.
Yeah, right.
Raven, look at me. $400.
You probably had like 5
later.
items.
7. Whole Foods does not play around.
Yeah.
And I remember just, man, American Express fucking loved me, because I was just going to Whole Foods like, oh, you can get the hot bar. You can get this. It was, and the problem is, from where I live right now, there's a Whole Foods 2 miles down the road. Like, I'm right there. And if I really want to go, like, I can go. Oh, we'll validate your parking. We got you. Yeah, I bet you fucking will.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're taking my money.
I was about to say, as much money I'm about to spend up in here.
I think you have to be mindful when you go into Whole Foods and really know. And you know, there's a golden rule. When you go to the grocery store, don't go hungry.
Yep.
Do not go hungry.
You're going to pick up everything.
Yes, you are. If you go to Whole Foods hungry, you're going to go bankrupt.
Yes.
It's akin to having a gambling addiction.
Easy.
It is the same. You know the difference between same and similar? It's the same as going to Vegas and being like, here's my 401k. Let's lose it in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Because you go into Whole Foods and it's always some, like, a new protein powder that's like organic or pea protein or whatever the fuck. I don't know. They be making shit up. And then I like it when there's that little bit of, like, when they have the hot bar. I don't even like cookies, cakes and shit like that. But they'll have like salted caramel
and all that shit
crunch,
right there together.
Brown. Yes, it's all in one little, and I'm like, man, I bet this shit hitting. Man, $7. You just eat it over time, you'll be fine. And you justify the bullshit in your head.
Justify it, yeah.
It's very problematic. Enough about me and my issues, because I got plenty of them. Okay, so we talked about, your upbringing with your mother. Where were you born?
Chambly.
Chambly.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hospital. I can't remember the hospital name. But yeah, I mean, for people who are not from Atlanta, I said I was born in Decatur, but right. I mean, that's just kind of like where I grew. Especially if people don't. If you're not from here, you don't know where Ellenwood is. So I just say
no, you
Decatur.
don't. And I've said, I know a guy who was trying to talk about a place down here, and he was like, "Is this Smyrna?" And I was like, "Come down here and talk like that. Like, just say that." He's like, "Is that the right way to say it?" Yeah, that's the right way to say it. Just say that.
It kind of sounds like smearing off.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Sounds.
Yeah, but yes. So I am from Atlanta.
You okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I had to get older and realize that my father, and this is an anecdote I say all the time, getting older was me realizing that we lived on Bennington Drive in my great uncle's rental property when I came home from the hospital. My father had rented it out from him. So what I learned is that when my mother went into labor, we were in Decatur. So to get on the freeway from there, you get on 285 to get on 20. You have to pass by Grady. My father, with my mother in labor, intentionally drove past Grady Hospital so that I could be born in Piedmont. It was, and I had to realize that after I started driving, and I was like, this was deliberate.
Yeah.
So I called him and I asked him, I was like, did you intentionally do that?
Because we're right
Yeah.
here.
One
Yeah.
word. Yep.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right. Because
Yeah.
he knew what was up.
Yeah.
Like he knew
Yeah.
Grady was not the way to go. Yeah, I'm born and raised here. Born in Atlanta, raised in Decatur. I live in Atlanta now. My $15 million studio is in Atlanta.
Quite nice.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. There is actually an Easter egg behind the number 15 million. And I told one person what it was off camera, and I'm waiting for someone to figure it out. Eventually they will.
Okay.
There's a number, there's a meaning behind that number. But anyway, Raven.
Yes.
I end every one of these things. You know what? I'm not going to end it yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to end it. But then we'll talk about this afterwards.
Okay.
With these 5 questions I like to ask people.
Okay.
And I want you to answer them in 1 or 2 sentences if you can.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
All right.
It's based on who, what, where, when, why. I used to call it the final 5 and whatever. It's stupid. All right, you good?
Yeah.
Okay. Who gave you the best advice you've ever received? The silence is deafening.
Man, I'm telling you. My science teacher.
Which one?
In high school.
What was her name? His name?
Her name was, she's gonna kill me. I think Miss Williams.
It's a very generic, made-up name.
Yeah.
Miss Williams?
Put me on the spot.
Okay, what was the advice?
Live your life for you.
God, so perfect. All right. What do you know well enough that you can teach an advanced class on it? Don't let imposter syndrome get in the way of you saying photography.
Nah.
Really?
Yeah. Oddly enough, I don't feel like I could be able to teach somebody.
Really?
Yeah. Now, what I will say is behavior management for children that are on the spectrum.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do you feel the most confident?
Where?
Mm-hmm.
Like in what?
Answer it however you want.
Okay.
It can be a GPS location.
Right.
It can be when I'm in the arena and I'm speaking on this.
Okay. Where do I feel the most confident? And my network of friends.
Okay.
That really know me.
And that's where you feel like you could be yourself.
Yeah.
The most.
Most authentically.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's an underrated thing because some of our friend circles are not that good and we don't realize it.
Correct.
Usually it gets better when we get older. At least I would hope so.
Yes. Yeah.
Because to be over 30 and have a toxic set of friends that you don't realize are toxic is just kind of interesting. Yeah. But then again, sometimes things need to happen for you to feel the toxicity and understand. Yeah. When you die, what do you want to be remembered for the most?
Just being a genuine person.
That's so nice. That's so sweet.
Like loving and kind, like, a genuine person.
Okay.
A good person. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Very simple to the point. And the last one is, why are you here?
Because you invited me. I am here to just so people can kind of know me, who don't know me. Just get a little insight on who Raven is. As a teacher, as a photographer, in this big but small city of Atlanta.
Yep. Such a great way of describing it.
Right. And just, who I am. And hopefully, gaining some people to book a shoot with me.
Such a great segue. You're a pro. Booking a shoot with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is Ray B Photography. My website is raybphotography.org. I primarily like my niche is like portrait photography. Okay. But I've done maternity shoots.
I've seen them. They look great.
Thank you. Engagement shoots. Stuff with babies. Kids are not my favorite to shoot.
So ironic.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I'm a teacher. But portraits primarily.
Portraits. And spell Ray B Photography for me, please.
RAYB then photography.
And you have a book that you're working on.
I do. I
Okay.
do.
Tell me about it.
It is. I'm working on like a coffee book.
Okay.
For grills. I want to highlight um grills and people and their grills.
For the people who don't have melanin in their skin,
Yes.
what are you talking about specifically?
Grills are mouth adornments. Some may be all goes, open face, if you don't know what that is. Just like the out tracing of your tooth, it's a mold and you can create it however you want to, but you just pop them in. Some can be permanent, some can be semi-permanent, not permanent at all. You can take them out. But yeah, so I want to do that because I'm from the South. Grills is such a southern it's such a southern part of our like history and culture.
Sure.
And so I just wanted to highlight that because I've seen them like there's this picture, I'm not sure of the artist, so I'm so sorry. But she got her doctorate and she has like her doctorate hat and she has like her grills and she's like slugged out like and it's so clean though. Because when you think of like professionals, doctors, lawyers, teachers, you know, the idea of being professional and having a grill, sometimes those two don't coexist to the masses out, you know.
When you say masses, say exactly what you mean, please.
For the non-melanated people.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's not
That's not
that,
what they envision.
that corporate world,
Sure.
so to speak. That's no, a grill. Oh my God, that's so ghetto, it's so ratchet, it's so just not becoming. But I want to highlight that because it is. And I think it has such a I wanted to highlight grills because there's so many different types and styles and
Sure.
you could really be a creative person and designing what that looks like, and it kind of shines and tells about who you are as a person, like your personality can kind of shine through. So I've been looking for anybody with a grill. We do a couple of shoots and along with the shoot I do like a little mini interview.
Okay.
And so I ask you, how old were you when you first got your grill? Are you planning on getting another one? What does a grill mean to you?
Now, if someone were listening to this or watching this and they wanted to get in touch with you for that project, they can just go to your Instagram.
Yeah, just go to my Instagram,
They can
DM me.
Okay.
Yeah, say you're interested. We'll talk. I send you like a little mood board or kind of like the shoots that I or the shots that I want to take. But really, it's just you vibing. You pick out your own clothes, your own style, your own aesthetic. We'll find it. We can shoot indoor, outdoor. You know, it doesn't matter. I just really want to shoot the creativity and see the creativity. Matter of fact, I just shot a friend of mine, him and his mom. And his mom celebrated her 50th birthday, and she has just one permanent gold tooth. And I'm like, and she's from Florida, so I'm like, that's such a Florida thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Naturally, right?
Yeah.
And he has some, I think, just like fangs, but yeah, I just want to showcase our culture and put a different highlight on it that it's not ghetto, it's not ratchet.
I don't think a lot of people, you talked about the optics. That's why I said very directly, say who you mean.
Yes.
Because there are a number of people who aren't involved in our culture. There are a number of people in our culture who don't historically understand where grills came from. And I'm very happy to hear that you are shining light on it because that's pretty fucking amazing. Raven, thank you.
No,
so
thank
much.
you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate it. I love you.
This is fun.
I appreciate you. And keep going.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Going Mach.